I'd now like to invite up onto stage Steve Brendish. Where's Steve? He's over here. Steve is the CEO of PropertyMate out of Australia, so thank you very much for coming all the way. It's about using AI to change the way consumers search for real estate.
Thanks very much. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to come listen to me this morning. Absolute pleasure to be here in Madrid. Obviously, as Simon said, I come from Australia, and it's a beautiful place to come to, Madrid. And I'm honoured to be sharing the stage with some brilliant minds in the property and tech world. Most of these minds far more brilliant than mine, but I'm honoured just the same. Allow me to share a brief overview of why I'm here. So contrary to my colleagues back in Australia, I'm not here for the tapas, the sunshine and the football, although I am partial to all three. I do enjoy them all. I'm actually one of two founders who 5 years ago identified a human problem and solved it with a digital solution. The second reason I'm here is to remind us all, regardless of our AI and tech knowledge, to never lose sight of the intrinsic values that make us human. It's human values that drive our progress and our success, and hopefully over the next 15 minutes, I can challenge your perspective of AI and property. Now, the slides are not matching up. Yes, they are. Sorry. Being immersed in the AI and property world, I like to believe I'm across most of the recent advancements in tech. Now, I profess I don't know them all. So in preparation for today, I found myself doom scrolling through TED Talks and keynote speeches on the internet. And I saw a worrying trend. And the trend is that ChatGPT or some other AI tool is our answer to everything. I'll give you an example. There was one guy who was standing up on stage, and he was saying that as agents, that you should create a buyer persona for a specific market with a specific price range and list out some of these potential problems that they have when they're looking for properties. Take those problems and get ChatGPT to create an ad for you. He was saying it was that simple. Now, we all know that's not that easy, and there is no magical unicorn. And this trend that I'm seeing across these speeches is attempting to solve a pressing question. And the question is, how are we using AI and tech in our business to improve it? And all the answers seem to be fairly similar. You save time by implementing this feature. You can reduce costs by integrating that feature. Now, innovations and advancements all have a place, and in PropertyMate, we have used a lot of these. But so is the company next door, and also the company next door. So we're never going to get ahead. Now, what's important to remember, and what we should all be asking ourselves in the prop tech world, is where's the human element in all of this? Is your point of difference in your platform or your portal driven by human need and behaviour, or are you simply driven by profit? Because if it's only profit, it's just not much, no matter what you do, it's just not going to work. Because it's people and humans can spot a furphy. Now, for those not sure on what furphy means, the definition is up behind me. It's an Australian slang. So if your brand or product isn't driven by authenticity, if it's just about making money, saving time, reducing resources, it's not going to work. Because it's humans that buy, it's humans that sell, and it's humans that rent properties. And their decisions are all driven by emotion. So no matter what amazing AI or tech you put in your platform, if you're an agent or a business owner and you've got the best tech in town, but you're renowned for being a bit of a shit person, it's just not going to work. Now, why I'm truly here is obviously to talk about PropertyMate and what we've done. And I'll share more detail about a generative and visual AI in a little bit. But first of all, let's talk about our human element, because that's where our story began. And it's what's driven our early success. So we are a different real estate platform. We've come from it from a different angle. Our point of difference is that we've taken the normal search, and as Simon was saying earlier, searching by suburb or postcode or area, and we've flipped it on its head. And because we've done this because we know that people value lifestyle over location. We arrived at these ideas in a pre-COVID time. Me and a friend of mine who's a real estate agent, and we were perplexed why people rarely were moved outside the suburbs that they already know. I'll give you an example. I grew up in London, in East London, and amongst my friends, whenever someone was going to move, we lived in the east, no one would ever look over in the west. And you would never think of crossing the river going down to South London. So it's just something that's always perplexed me. But what if these suburbs that you know, maybe they aren't your perfect suburb? Maybe your perfect suburb is somewhere else you hadn't already thought of. And when we were researching other platforms around the world, every property is doing the same thing. You put your suburb in, and it'll give you a stack of properties based on where you think you want to live. In Australia, where PropertyMate began, a recent survey revealed a staggering, and I was amazed by this, 72% of people in the last 12 months have moved no further than 9 kilometres. So that's about, 7 miles, I'm thinking? And why? It's because humans love familiarity. They fear the unknown, and we're reluctant for change. But think for a moment. What is it you love about the suburb that you live in? Is it because you're close to a great school? Maybe you can walk to a local park, or you've got access to public transport. But what don't you love? Maybe the tapas bar down the road keeps you awake till 2 a.m. Maybe you're too close to the freeways and the noise is unbearable. Or maybe you're too close to your in-laws. These are all crucial elements in lifestyle, and they've got very little to do with your postcode. As I said before, the platforms that we were looking at when we were discussing this were all allowing you to search by location and postcode, because it's what we've all been conditioned to do. It's the one constant ever since the internet started up and people started putting properties on there, and PropertyMate is trying to change that. 5 years ago, PropertyMate was just an idea amongst friends, and today we're on track to become the 3rd largest property advertising channel in Australia. So what makes us different? Well, we've been created and driven by the industry. We're now 50% owned by the industry. We looked at other areas that have done that. So On the Market was a great example of how we knew this could work. And not only are we meeting lifestyle needs, we're staying true to our human-centred approach. And we're also making the property hunt more exciting. So instead of asking, where do you want to live? We're asking a more valuable question. What's important to you? By understanding the lifestyle aspects that generally drive a homeowner or renter's happiness, we know that we'll be able to show users properties that they're going to love in locations they probably hadn't thought of before. This is going to be a bigger and better audience for the seller, and also will cast a wider net for the agents. Now let me walk you through some of the user experience that we're going to be launching over the next few months. And this will basically allow users to have a conversation with our app.
Hey, PropertyMate, show me properties within a 20-minute drive of where I work, and no more than a 15-minute walk to the beach. I need at least 3 bedrooms, and there must be at least 1 high school nearby. Show me homes with a garden large enough to play footy in. Make it under 1.5 mil.
Now, for those of you who are familiar with modern-day dating, the next slide will show you how we actually supply those properties to people. We do have the normal searches available, because we know that not everyone's going to jump onto these new ideas, but this is an option, and we're finding that it's, and again, as Simon said, it's really popular with the younger demographic. So you can see behind me the phone, so I can swipe left and right. So I love the pool on this one. I'm going to swipe right. I'm really not sure about that one. I don't need a triple-storey home. I can swipe left. This one's modern. I love it. Now, as you interact with PropertyMate in this way, the machine learning gets smarter, and the platform starts to learn what people love and what they don't love. What lifestyle aspects are truly driving you to swipe left or swipe right. And soon we're going to be taking lifestyle options to the next level. We're making our audio active search a lot more real. So here's a few examples.
Hey, PropertyMate. It's important I live somewhere inclusive, somewhere I feel welcomed, in a community where the majority of residents support gay marriage. I have allergies too, so I need to be in an area with a low pollen count. I'm a Catholic, by the way, so I'd prefer to live somewhere that aligns with my religious views.
So all of this data is available to us. It's just a matter of us plugging it in and making it, and going back to what Simon said before, allowing people to build a personal choices up on our platform. We're going to be able to, users are going to be able to prioritise lifestyle choices that are important to them, median age, pollen, as was mentioned before, crime, affluence, whatever it is, you can create the perfect lifestyle. The visual AI is going to be even better. PropertyMate will start to learn from the images within those properties about why you swipe left or right. So if you start to swipe right on properties that are in the 1950s, it will start to show you more. If it can see that you're loving the kitchens with stone benches, it will show you more of those properties as well. And if you like properties with trees rather than flowers, it will start to give you properties based on your swipes. So instead of users having to search through thousands of unsuitable properties, the user is going to get a much more focused stack.
Hey, PropertyMate. Some of these properties you're showing me have dining rooms. I don't need one, so you can filter those out.
So it's going to start giving you a real conversation. You can start having a conversation with our app and start filtering things out, making decisions based on what you love and what you don't love.
Hey, PropertyMate. I really love this home with a pool you just showed me. If something similar comes up, shoot me a text. Oh, I love this property. Add to my favourites.
Now, some of these features are live, some are in beta, and some are in development, and some are coming very, very soon. But it's a really exciting digital voyage that we're treading.
Hey, PropertyMate. I'm a wheelchair user, so it's important you only show me accessible homes.
We think that one's going to be actually a killer, because we know that it's very difficult, I'm sure it's the same over here, for people with these in a wheelchair, for example, to find accessible properties. Now, I know I've spoken a lot about authenticity in our product, but obviously we couldn't build a property without addressing the needs of the agents and the agencies, because at the end of the day, we know that they're our customer. So we spoke to them, we listened to them, and we identified some of their pain points, and we found ways to alleviate their issues. We recognise that it takes time to get photographs put together for a property and brochures printed. So what we did is we created these coming soon properties, which is a pre-campaign listing options. And agents can get a property onto our platform within an hour after the vendor has signed a link. This gives them early advantage and speed to market. We made these free for the agents. We also created off-market listings. So the discretion is the key with these. And I know that it's quite different in Europe, but off-market is when someone basically wants to put their house, make it available, but they don't want a massive sign out the front. So if someone comes up with the right price, they'll sell. This leads those vendors to market and gives an early opportunity for the agents. Our paid listings, these are pushed through socials, and we're charging a fraction of the cost to the industry. Even in our first year, we're making money, which is great. And we're not price gouging as some of our competitors are, because this is one of the biggest complaints from the agents. They're fed up of the price being increased every year. So our purpose and mission is to create an enduring cultural shift and reconnect consumers with what drives happiness. And our vision is to help people discover where they truly belong. We went into PropertyMate thinking, well, if we can unite and positively advance the industry and provide value, we've done really well. If we can lead the way, or maybe point the way in AI and tech, well, that's an absolute bonus. Now, we launched in March this year, so we're very, very new. But already we've got 75% of Australia's leading property brands on our platform. That's 3,600 offices which are already investing, listing, or both. This is an incredible testament to the change that the industry has been looking for. And it will hopefully make them no longer the mercy of the big dogs. I'm sure they'll be there for a while, though. It's time for a change, and we're proud to be leading it. When it comes to property, we're taking the route less travelled, and we're excited to take everyone with us. Thank you very much.
Steve, thanks very much. There's some questions come up. You mentioned that you can improve recommendations by knowing how much time a user spent seeing specific images. Is this only possible on your app, and doesn't this go against the trend of being wherever the user is?
At the moment, it is only available in the app. And yeah, so basically what we're doing, it's not on specific images, it's on specific listings. So with the images, for example, if someone is looking at properties with more swimming pools in, or something that's not included in the written text, we can just start showing them those. I don't know that it really goes against what other people are doing, but at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is, give listings to people and recommendations of properties that they like.
Okay. I find it interesting when considering portals always have 30% of listings with very few leads. It's basically saying a small percentage don't have leads.
Yep.
Are you able to use this to distribute more intelligently the leads to agents?
Yeah, that's
performance.
Yeah, sorry, that's definitely something that we're looking at the moment. As I said, we are very new, so a lot of this, we're in a huge learning phase as well at the moment.
Okay. What is the most unexpected but surprisingly common request from users during property searches?
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. We've had a lot of people, obviously their commute time is really important, but when it comes to the commute time, they actually want to drill it down to specific days of the week. After COVID, obviously everyone is, sometimes you're in the office, sometimes you're not. So, for example, for me, on a Tuesday and a Thursday, I want to be in the office at 8:30 a.m. and I want to be there within half an hour. Where are the properties? And that's the kind of questions we get. People start to go into the real detail.
Okay. Get rid of that one. Yeah. What percentage of users on the site use the new search, interactive search versus traditional search?
Yeah, that's unfortunately, it's not high. It's about 25% of people are using the new search, but we are leading people into it. We're not hiding it in back pages. It is on the app in the home area, but we're obviously looking at UI and UX problems to try so we can try and make it a little bit more obvious. We know that we're in like a learning phase, so we have to teach the consumer that this is a different way to search, because they come in, the first thing they do is they look for that bar where they can type their suburb in, and they don't look around on the rest of the page. So we're actually looking at a way of coming in and perhaps saying to them, do you know where you want to live, or do you want us to help you find it?
It was because I was just reflecting then on, you got about 20%. Ben yesterday from Zoopla had about 10%, and he had the same issues, right? It was all about user. How do I integrate this? How do I not disrupt the existing traffic and the 20 years of education, right, that the industry's done? But how do I make these options look far more, make them more prevalent? And so that people can engage. And I think that's an interesting challenge for the UX guys.
It is.
To crack. But we do know that over time people will start to look for these options. So then it becomes easier. So there's this learning curve.
We're definitely at the start of the learning curve.
Okay. One last question. What happens if no listings match any criteria? As it might be, one of the interesting challenges is I am so specific on my requirements that there's a null set.
Yeah, absolutely happens. So at the moment, what we do is we say, sorry, nothing here. Maybe you'd be interested in these properties. All right. So we kind of will. So let's say someone has 6 requests. We might take one of them out and say, look, we haven't got all of them, but here's some properties that have 5 of the 6.
Right. So behind this is all about saying you take the interaction with the very broadly accented Australian speaking, by the way, in that.
Yes.
Okay. You're pulling out the key words that they're talking about. That becomes the filtering mechanism.
Correct.
To then discover the listing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Okay.